What do you need improvement in?
Just want to go through and win.
What is the purpose of overthinking? You're taking care of your loved one. That's how you can increase your sales.
Hello, everybody. This is Ferris.
And this is Caleb Lenore, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Homecare Guyz.
Oh my goodness, Caleb. I am super excited about today's interview. We're launching a new segment of the Homecare Guyz podcast, and we are interviewing India Williams. She's a family nurse practitioner that focuses on mental health.
Yeah.
India, we are excited about having you on, girl. How you doing today?
I am great. I'm excited to talk to you guys today.
Man, this has been a long time coming. I know we've connected on social media, been seeing a lot of things that you've been doing in the community. You're making an impact in the mental health world as well. Yes. So I am super excited about actually just introducing you to our audience and just allowing them to hear about India and your practice and what you do. So India, if you could first start off telling us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into this industry?
Sure, yeah. So I'm from Milledgeville, Georgia. Graduated from high school. I graduated as an RN in 2015, started out in a big hospital, didn't even think about mental health. Last thing on my mind. And I had kids and I was out of work for a while. I lost the child. And so one of my good friends basically came to me and she said, it's time to go back to work. And so I working at Central State Hospital. I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. I was terrified. But I ended up loving it. I ended up loving talking to the people. I love to hear their stories. I love to see when they went into remission. And so once I became a nurse practitioner, my first job as a nurse practitioner was in the mental health field. Wow. And so I actually I went to different nursing home facilities and I evaluated geriatric patients on their mental health. So I evaluated them for depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, dementia, stuff like that. And I did that for almost 2 years and I loved it. And so now I currently treat mental health patients, all ages, children, adults, geriatric patients, and I have my own practice. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like come on.
Okay, so Andy, what's the name of your practice and where's your practice located?
So I have a telehealth practice. I see patients over the computer, over their phone, over their mobile device. And the name of my practice is Lotus Health and Wellness.
Lotus Health. Tell me, how did you come up with Lotus?
Exactly.
Isn't it like a flower or something like that?
I basically wanted to create a platform to be able to meet people where they are, because I noticed that people, they hate coming to a mental health facility. They don't like it. And so I created the telehealth platform. And when I thought of the name, I thought of Lotus because the term Lotus means regeneration, rebirth, detachment. And so I just thought of people in general, how we can always regenerate. We can always reform our thinking, our mental capacity. So that's how I thought of Lotus, and I just went with it.
Wow. I like that. And when you said like the regeneration, I think that's so important because I think that a lot of times people feel stuck. And they feel stuck, whether it be stuck in mental healthness, depression or whatever. But as a family practitioner, as a mental health specialist, how do you help individuals get unstuck?
Well, at first, I think the hardest part is acknowledgement, for that person to actually acknowledge where they are. Wow. A lot of people are in denial. Like, they know they feel bad. They don't really want to accept that. And I think once they accept that and once they accept help, then, we can kind of get them unstuck. But the first thing you got to do is accept that you're in a place and you have to move out of that, that stuck place. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And Indy, I think a lot of times, I know we work in the senior care industry, but a lot of times as healthcare professionals, like, we get so focused on helping other people, especially as you as a nurse and we're us in the healthcare field, we get so focused on everyone else where a lot of times we find ourselves in a position where we're stuck. We walk around with a smile on our face, but we're suffering from depression or suffering from anxiety or suffering from those things as well. Do you see that? Do you see mental health affecting the healthcare professional a lot?
All the time. Oh my God, all the time. It's what we call high functioning anxiety or high functioning depression.
Wow.
You know, you become so accustomed to helping people that you put yourself on the back burner, and then, you know, you end up burning out.
Wow.
And so it's so important that healthcare providers find a routine or have a plan and coping skills to be able to go back to when they find themselves burning out.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Man, and just on a personal note, I remember a few years ago when I was actually like, I was just going through something. I felt like I could not get unstuck. I'm like, I was walking around, everyone like, oh man, Farrah's doing this, Farrah's happy, Farrah's smiling. But I'll never forget, I was traveling down 85, coming back from like Gwinnett County area, and I just pulled over beside the road, and I was like, oh my God, I just felt horrible.
Wow.
And as a veteran, I was a military veteran, suffered from PTSD as well. And I'll never forget, I made the conscious decision just to go to the hospital, just to go through and get evaluated. And I think that was a turning point in my life, because I had to acknowledge that just because I was smiling did not mean everything was was good. And I had some things I had to go through and actually deal with internally. And I think especially in our community, especially in the African-American community,
right,
and especially being a male, it's a stigma to go through and say, well, hey, you're weak to sit down and talk to someone. Or, hey, it shows less strength to go through and actually admit that, you know what, hey, I may be strong in one area, but I'm weak in another area. And I think that's the stigma that has been broken. And I think specifically having providers such as yourself, you are a representation and you're helping others get out of that position. So I want to say thank you for that as well.
I want to piggyback on that too. I want to say, well, thank you, India, for being a provider, because most times, especially I'm in therapy myself, but most times we don't see therapists or nurse practitioners or providers like ourselves that are like us, you know, and so that's pretty much a stigma, because when we're talking about our illnesses or talking about like what we're dealing with, our traumas, you know, I can relate more to someone that looks like me, you know, I feel. And so I think that I want to say I salute you on that, and I want to see, like, I want to ask you a question. Have you seen a lot of our community, you know, become more acknowledgement of their condition or their present state? And do you see them like really enhancing and embracing therapy and mental health?
Absolutely. Just doing mental health, I have seen so many people come up to me, so many patients that I've treated. They're just so thankful to be able to see, like you said, a Black provider, an African-American provider, because they feel like I can understand them better. And I do feel like I can understand them better. And I'm glad that, you know, our community they're more comfortable saying, I'm going through something.
Right.
I can't handle it. I think I'm depressed. They may not even know that they're depressed. They may just know what symptoms they're feeling. And, you know, I have to help them say, like, okay, it sounds like you're depressed, or it sounds like you're dealing with anxiety. But the fact that they're more comfortable to say, I'm dealing with something now, because I don't know about you guys, but I grew up, and in the Black community, depression was not a thing. You can't be depressed.
You have to pray about it.
Yeah, you have to pray about it.
Eat some chicken wings or something like that.
Down somewhere.
You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
So yeah, so I'm thankful, and don't get me wrong, prayer works, absolutely. But I also feel like God put healthcare providers in that position to be able to bring people out of their darkness, or to be able to help people through it. You know, even as a healthcare provider myself, like you said, you see a therapist. I had to see a counselor too. I still sometimes reach out and say, look, I'm dealing with a lot. I help so many people. I take so many energies in, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I need a little help. I need somebody to talk to, and that's perfectly okay. So I love to see it.
Wow. And that really shows strength. It really shows strength. And I love where we are right now, especially in the present day. We have embraced therapy. We have embraced mental health. We realize that, especially, I think
we're embracing.
I think
embracing.
And one thing I think that even COVID-19 really forced us to go through and embrace it. COVID-19 realized we had to sit down and be with ourselves during COVID-19. And a lot of things that we saw in the mirror, it reflected. It showed us that, okay, well, hey, I really don't deal with this situation in the best way. Right. I see where, I even see a growth in the community, me in particular, I see a growth in the communication with my wife and I seen it grow through COVID, because guess what? We had to be in the same house. I couldn't hide behind work. We had to go through and embrace each other. Right. And so those are the things that I see. Are you seeing, like, what effects have you seen in mental health during COVID? And I guess we're in a post pandemic era right now.
So during COVID, I think that one, like you said, being in the house with your family members, having to communicate, facing those issues, can't run away from it. And then on top of that, you know, dealing with family members passing away, friends passing away, dealing with the financial burdens, you know, not being able to, you know, go to work and have the same amount of income coming in. So I think that caused a lot of, you know, adjustment disorder, just having to adjust to being around your family members and friends, and adjusting to the change in income, mood disorders, depression, dealing with problems, like you said, that you couldn't run from, that now you have to face it. So those were the issues during COVID. And I think post-COVID, I hope we can say post-COVID. I think post-COVID, basically people are trying to get back to their normal. They're trying to find their normal. They're trying to find their balance through it all, and get back on their feet. And so I think that's where we are now.
I think that you have an interesting model with your practice, with telehealth health instead of like face to face. And so what percentage is face to face, or is everything just completely telehealth?
So yes, everything is completely telehealth. I see people strictly over the computer. However, I have the ability to travel. So if I need to see a patient in Augusta, or if I need to see a patient somewhere in Georgia, and I feel like they have an acute case, I can do that. But for the most part, it's over the computer. My therapist that I have, they see the patients over the computer. Their medication is sent over the computer to their pharmacy. Everything is HIPAA compliant. Nice. And so it just works. And so I think the advantage of it is, some people, they have to get up, they have to go to work, they have to take the children to school. They can't always go to an appointment and be there by 9 a.m. But maybe they can make it at 7 o'clock p.m. after the children are put down, you know, and they're able to talk to someone. And so that's the advantage of, you know, being able to offer telehealth.
Wow, I want to jump in there, because you now you're operating two different hats, as a therapist, as a family practicing nurse as well, but also as an entrepreneur. What has been one of the hurdles that you feel like you had to overcome as an entrepreneur?
I like that.
Not giving up. Not sitting in your doubt and in your fear, because I think with entrepreneurship, you start doubting yourself, and you start, you know, fearing what might happen, what might not happen, and just not quitting, just continuing to go forward, continue to work around whatever you're going through, you know, make new ideas. If plan A didn't work, you know, go to plan B, see if you need to fix plan A a little bit, or go to plan B. And I think that's the thing during entrepreneurship, is just to keep going. You know, it's not going to always be awesome. It's going to be very, very tough. And so you have to meet your audience, your customers, where they are. You have to give them what they want. You have to understand that you're providing a service or a product, and you just have to work around it. And you learn a lot about yourself in entrepreneurship.
India, I want to ask you a question. What is one of your goals for 2022 for you personally, or for your practice?
My number one goal will always be effective. I think effectiveness. I think if the more effective you are, then the greater your business is going to be. So that's always my number one goal, is to always just be effective, to help people. The more people I can help, the more my business is going to grow. So,
you know, recently there was a sermon that Bishop Jakes, we talked about it on one of our podcasts. It was like, how are you? And so many times we have a conversation and we say, how are you? And then our automatic response is, well, I'm doing fine. We're doing well. But we don't really take the moment to really say or listen to see, how are you? Because there have been so many deaths lately with the former Miss USA, I believe. She committed suicide. And then was it Regina King? Regina King's her son. Yeah. And so all of these are mental health issues. And so how important is it to be present and really to listen? And what are some of those things we need to look for to really kind of detect that this person is not all right and may need mental health? That's a 3-part question.
It is. So the first thing I want to say is when you stated people ask, how are you? And we always say, oh, I'm fine.
Right.
I think that's out of habit. I think that people say, oh, I'm fine just because they don't feel like they have the vulnerability to discuss what's really going on with them. They don't feel like they can trust you, or they feel like you can't help. There's no need to complain, and I might as well just say I'm fine. I think that's the number one issue, that people really don't express how they feel. But the second part of your question, I think that's the second part. How do we know? How can we know that something is going on? I feel like if you know that person, look at the small changes. Are they sleeping more? Or if they're high functioning, they're probably not sleeping at all. They're probably not getting enough sleep. And just those two simple things, we know how important sleep is. So even if they say they're okay, if you're not sleeping or if you're sleeping too much, that's an issue. Just notice their habits. Have you talked to them? If you haven't talked to that person, you usually talk to that person. Let's check in, do some pop-ups, what's going on. And just leave that door open to say, I know you've been working hard. I haven't really heard from you. What's been going on? How's everything going? Kind of go into detail. Don't just ask, how are you? How is work?
Ask
how are the kids? Right. Go into detail to open up the door to let them know, I'm just calling to check on you. And if you're not doing okay, let them know that you're human, to say, well, I got to tell you, work has been hard. Leave that door open so both of you can be vulnerable.
India, I think that one thing that you made me see is recognize is the importance of the follow-up question. And so like I hear, like, sometimes I even tell my team, okay, well, how's your morning? Because we have morning huddles, and I ask, how was your morning today? And they were like, it's great. Well, what does great look like? You tell me what great looks like. Well, you tell me how, well, I'm doing good. What is good? You tell me what good looks like. And so the follow-up question is so important into really getting to know the person. I think that's great.
India, I'm going to ask one question before we segue into one of the parts of our conversation is, how important is it to have a strong circle around? Because I realize your circle can protect you. It can build you up, especially when you're going through moments of vulnerability. I just want to ask you, how important is having a circle?
That is one of the most important things in your life to me. Your circle can make or break you. If you are a person and you have dreams and you're inspired to do this and that, if you bring your dreams and your thoughts to the wrong people, man, it can make or break you. So I feel like your circle is everything. Your circle, when you're down, when you should be doing more, the right circle will question and ask you, what do you have going on? What's up? What are you doing? Have you done this? My circle checks me every time. My circle makes sure I am on my A game, and they don't expect anything less. And when I'm doing less, they always check me.
I love it.
And they motivate me, when I see my circle doing well, doing what they're supposed to do, they're focused, they're disciplined, it makes me want to do better.
Wow.
It inspires me to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Wow. So I feel like your circle can really make or break you. If they're doing negative things and they don't have anything to bring to the table, and they're always sitting around the wrong crowd, you're gonna be doing the same thing. You don't have a viewpoint of something greater. So I think it's very important.
That's amazing. And that's one thing Caleb and I, we talk about often, is like, we always have to evaluate our circle, because again, just like you said, they have the power to make or break you. They have the power to pull you up or pull you down. And they have a power to emotionally pull you up or pull you down as well. Right. And so I think it's so important. I think our next, as we segue and kind of end this conversation, I want to kind of go through and actually ask you a particular question. In working in healthcare, again, we work with a lot of CNAs, a lot of LPNs and RNs. We work with a lot of family caregivers who care for their own loved ones. We work with a lot of team members that support that as well. What is one piece of advice that you could give to that family caregiver, or for that person who's working in healthcare that's struggling? And I'll be more particular, and to the family caregiver who's caring for their loved one, caring for mom, caring for dad, caring for that niece or nephew or that child. What is one piece of advice that you can give to that person to prevent burnout?
That's good.
I think I talked about this before. Take the cape off.
Wow.
You have to take some time to take your cape off. You cannot always be Superman and Superwoman all the time. You have to take the cape off and take a break and show yourself some love, show yourself some care, and be there for yourself. You have to prioritize yourself, because if you do not take care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else effectively.
That's it.
So
I
I think
that.
in order for you to give give someone else your all and be effective to that person, you have to take care of yourself. So just find some time to take the cape off and not be Superman and Superwoman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I like, you know what? That's how we're going to end it.
That's how we're going to end it. I mean, oh my goodness.
Take the cape off. You know what? I wish I had me a cape. I just take it off.
Take that thing off and throw it. And India, this has been an amazing interview. I mean, I'm super excited about this. Like I said, you accepting the invite. Again, our goal is to go through and empower our community. And a lot of the conversations that we have together or with individuals within our circles, we want to go through and express that and allow other people to jump in on the conversation as well. So before we actually end this conversation, I would like for you to go through and give a parting piece of advice, which you already hit it already, but give a parting piece of advice specifically. I want you to talk to that nurse practitioner who has been an RN for a number of years, decided to go back to school and get that that family practice degree. That's thinking about actually starting their own practice. It may not be in mental health, it may be in community health, it may be in other things. But I want you to go through and speak to that person that's up at night, just kind of on the line. Should I start my own business? Should I not start my own business? What piece of advice would you give to that nurse practitioner?
Well, more than likely, their nurse practitioner, if that nurse, that RN, and they're thinking about becoming a nurse practitioner and they're thinking about entrepreneurship, one thing I would remind them of, more than likely you're thinking about it because you're searching for autonomy, meaning you're searching for that ability to be able to take care of your patients more in first line. So I would say it is absolutely going to be hard. Don't think that it's not. It's going to be very difficult, but the reward that you get from being able to take care of your patients is far greater. And I would say do it. It's going to be tough. Get your support system ready beforehand. Figure out a plan. Write down your plan. Write down your goals. Figure out what is your goal. What do you want to do with it? And then go for it.
Wow. Well, India, you wrapped it up really well. I want you to go through and just share with us, share how can our audience connect with you, whether it be via your website, social media. How can they follow you? How can they connect with you? How can that person who's going through, who's seeking mental health, how can they reach out to you to go through and start the process?
Right.
Absolutely. So I say the best way to reach out to me is through my website. There's a message form that comes directly to me. You won't have to, make a phone call and verbally talk to anyone. You can write it down and I'll get it immediately. And that would be at www.visitlotushealth.com. Quickest way. Facebook, Visit Lotus Health and Wellness. That's my Facebook tag, and Instagram, Visit Lotus Health and Wellness. Same thing. So you can't miss it. Those would be the quickest ways to get in touch with Lotus Health and Wellness and book an appointment to see what we offer.
And last but not least, I know that you said earlier that you provide therapy services for children, adults, and seniors. And so with the children, do you provide those BSPs or behavior support plans and all those other things like that?
So, yep. So the therapist, first I would ask if that child has an IEP at school or if they need a behavior support plan. And, me and the therapist would kind of create a treatment plan, a wellness plan for that child that they can actually bring to the school to manage their IEP. So absolutely, adults, children, teenagers, the geriatric population, we treat it all.
And how about for autism? Children with
Absolutely.
autism? Great.
Absolutely. ADHD, autism, conduct disorder, all of those things.
Okay. Well, we got some referrals for you.
Oh my goodness. I am super excited. India, we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out your day just to go through and actually share this conversation with our audience. And we hope that someone got something from this conversation and walked away a better person as well. So India, again, we want to say thank you so much. Everyone, the show notes, checking the show notes for her website and to connect with her and go through and do it today. So India, we say thank you so much and we salute you for being a trailblazer.
Thank you.
In this industry as well.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Have a great one.